Sometimes there's a plus side to waiting a day before doing these videos. I'm Jake, I can't skate, and this is an Olympic hockey game day recap. So you know it by now, but you can put it in the win column. Canada wins 10-2 over France and goes undefeated through their group. And we're waiting right now to see their opponent. That game is happening as I record this video. They took a little bit to get the wheels under them against France. It was 0-0 halfway through the first period after Juncker makes some great saves for the French, and people start just kind of talking about that goal difference narrative where you had to beat the States by goal difference to get the number one seed, which meant you had to run up the score a bit against France. With it being 0-0, people starting to get a little nervous, but it's a good, hard-working shift from that McDavid, Celebrini, and Wilson line, and it's Wilson low to high to Doughty. Doughty puts it on net off the pads, and Tom Wilson has an Olympic goal, and he had a very interesting game. We'll get into that a bit more as we go forward, but it's 1-0. And then seconds later, more nervy moments. Real bad turnover by Colton Parayko and some puck watching leads to a good chance for Florian Douay, and he puts it by Jordan Binnington, and it's tied at 1 midway through the first period with France. Was I nervous? No. Were a good chunk of people getting a little nervous? Absolutely. Minute later, though, Crosby and Stone get sprung on a 2-on-1, and Devon Taves, the trailer, Crosby drops it, bang! Nothing Juncker can do about that. It's 2-1, and then Mark Stone on a turnover later in the period, on the slowest breakaway ever, chips it by the goalie with less than a minute left, and we go into the first period up 3-1. People are talking about goal difference. Let me clarify my stance here. Of course, I wanted us to beat France by a bunch, which we did, and get the number one seed. But the way this team is playing and the way it's constructed, no team in this tournament really scares me. If we play like we can, we're gonna beat anybody we come up against. So I wasn't super worried about coming up against Sweden myself. However, that ceased to be a worry fairly quickly. On the power play in the second, it's McDavid to Makar. Walk in, screen in front. Wouldn't have mattered either way. Bang! 4-1. Cale Makar just is a crazy weapon to have on an already loaded power play. Now it's time to talk about Mackinnon Celebrini. He's special. He wanted the puck all night against France. He set up some great chances, both for himself and for his line mates. Tom Wilson gets absolutely robbed. Then a couple minutes later, Celebrini gets sprung on a breakaway, gets hauled down, because what else are you going to do? It's a penalty shot. Why wouldn't you have Celebrini take this? He hasn't looked nervous in this tournament at all. Walks in and scores. No mistake, under the arm of Juncker. Get excited if you're not already, Sharks fans. I'm annoyed that this guy is in the Flames division. And it's 5-1. At this point, it was getting out of reach for USA, but you want to make sure, you want to put the hammer down. Canada does, so right after the Celebrini penalty shot, Mark Stone forces a turnover. It comes to Crosby. He bobbles it, but it goes off. French sticks it in. 2 goals, 19 seconds apart. And you can start putting it into cruise control at 6-1. Of course, that's not how this game ended. For the first part of the third period, it was a lot of the same. French save Yunka for their qualification game, which they lost, but I understand why they made the move. 20 seconds in, I feel bad for Keller because it's a Celebrini McDavid give and go. On the last pass, Celebrini, springs Connor, and no chance for Keller, coming in cold, essentially. It's 7-1. That's ridiculous. That's a triple for McDavid, by the way. 3 points in each of the pool games. Nobody has done that in the NHL era. The points for a single tournament record in a tournament where NHLers came as 11. Connor's already got 9. He's most likely gonna break that record by a fair margin in the medal round. It's been something else to see. I'm glad during this tournament I get to actually cheer for this guy when he's not playing for that stupid blue and orange team. However, right after that Celebrini McDavid sparkling thing of beauty, we see a little bit of the reason why the St. Louis Blues aren't going to make the playoffs. This was 2026 NHL Jordan Binnington as Sasha Trey gets it coming over the line in transition and takes a wicked slap shot, but there's no screen. Binner really does have to stop this. It's a 7-1 game, so he's probably a little absent-minded at this point, but when it's you and Logan Thompson battling for who's going to be the goalie in the medal round, you really want to save there, but you don't get one, and it's 7-2. Then it's our fourth line with Bo Horvat and Sam Bennett putting France into the spin cycle, and Horvat eventually deposits a rebound. It's 8-2, and the hits keep on coming. Nathan Mackinnon, he'll get some time in my thoughts after it as well. In transition, pushing the D back like he always does with Colorado, dishes it off to Brandon Hagel. Bang! 9-2. And eventually we make it 10. It's Celebrini again on the power play. Coming into the qualification games, he's actually leading the tournament in goal scoring. You would not have expected that from a 19-year-old, but I cannot say enough good things. Then, with time winding down, Nathan Mackinnon gets elbowed in the face. It's a headshot. That's actually what set up the power play where Celebrini scores. It gets downgraded from a 5 to a 2. It should have been 5. This was a headshot. And Nathan Mackinnon's looking a little stunned, but he's also looking very angry. And so is Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson talks to the French bench, basically saying, hey, quit fucking around. And it gets interesting later because he gets in a little bit of a scrum with Mackinnon from France, and Mackinnon actually drops the gloves against Tom Wilson, and at this point I'm saying, Wilson, no! Because we all know that fighting is an automatic game misconduct and will get looked at automatically by the tournament committee. Now, there was a lot of stuff going around that it was an automatic one-game suspension. It's just an automatic look. We found out before recording this that Tom Wilson is good to go for the quarterfinals. And from a tournament committee perspective, so was Mackinnon. But in a move that I find absolutely baffling, Mackinnon was actually suspended for the qualification round by the French Hockey Federation. His own federation suspended him, not for the fight itself, but for taunting Tom Wilson afterwards in what they called a move that was against the Olympic spirit. Are you joking? Are you joking me? I understand the sentiment is very nice and lovely, but this is a best on best hockey tournament. And you can tell that the French players didn't agree with this either. Before the qualification game today, they actually came out themselves and said it was a joke that the Federation did this. I can tell you right now, the Canadian Olympic Committee and Hockey Canada certainly didn't suspend Tom Wilson, and he will be playing in our quarterfinal game. But as the time's ticking down, and Nathan Mackinnon is very angry, he throws some huge hits in this game at the end. Some of them are great, but on the last one, he looks like he jars his knee a little bit and is sore and wincing, and Avalanche fans are having their heart jump into their throats because you want Canada to do well if you're a Canadian Avalanche fan, but you also don't want to lose your best player as you're looking to make a deep playoff run. That was a very big topic of conversation coming out of the game. Doug Armstrong and John Cooper both said today Nathan Mackinnon's good to go for the quarters. He didn't skate today, but both say it's just a maintenance day. So apparently, whatever knock Nathan Mackinnon picked up, it's not bad enough to knock him out of the medal round, and I would assume also not bad enough to keep him out for any length of time with the Avalanche. The other story coming out of the game was whether Jordan Binnington should still be the starting goalie when you give up 2 goals on 12 shots against France. And you were great in your first start, but so was Logan Thompson. It may have been a question in the media, and for some of us, it was not. For Canada, John Cooper, ever since Four Nations, has absolutely rock-solid faith in Jordan Binnington, and that is who the starter is going to be for the quarterfinals. And as of a few minutes ago, it is now confirmed that quarterfinal will be a rematch of our opening pool game against Czechia. That is a good Czechia team. That is a very solid team, but we beat them soundly in the pool. We're mostly healthy going into the middle round. Couple of small knocks on Bennett and Mackinnon. We're going on all cylinders offensively. I am not concerned about having to play the Czechs in the quarters. Let me know what you're thinking going into the middle round. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, go Canada.